Hello student, I am Sangeeta Mansukhani. This is the video for 12th standard, and in this video I am going to tell you about new chapter number 1st part 1, the solid state. Okay, so solid. In 11th standard you already known about how matter divided into 3 states: solid, liquid and gas. So matter exists in different states, so 3 major states: solid, liquid and gas. So we need solid substance having different properties for like wide range of application properties, and then depend upon the nature of the particles and then binding force operating among them. So we need to study structure and composition and properties of the solid substance from molecular level to the applicable macro level. So correlation between structure and then properties helps in discovering new solid materials with desired properties like high temperature, superconductors, magnetic materials, biodegradable polymers for packaging, and biocompliant solids for surgical implants, etc. So in this chapter we will focus on characteristics, general characteristics and classification of the solids, then structure of solid, and third is crystal defect and properties of solid. So these are 3 main topic of this chapter: general characteristics and the classification of solid, structure of solids, and then crystal defect and properties of solids. So we have to start general characteristics and then classification of solid. So you already known about solid. Solid have definite shape and volume, right? So solid have definite shape and volume. So that is means its property, its character differ from the liquid and gases. Clear? So solid differ from liquid and gases, especially which fact gases and liquid possess fluidity. Okay, they can flow and hence called fluids, and solid do not possess fluidity. Instead they possess rigidity. Okay, so the fluidity in gases and liquid due to the fact their constituent particles are free to move around, and while rigidity in solid is due to the fixed position of their constituent particles, so which can only oscillate about their mean position. And under a given set of condition of temperature and pressure, which of the 3 states would be the most stable state of a given substance? So depend upon the net effect of 2 opposing factors. Okay, so which 2 factors? First is intermolecular forces. Intermolecular forces which tend to keep the constituent particles closer. Then second opposing factor, thermal energy, which tends to keep them apart by making them move faster. Okay, so these are 2 factors, 2 conditions, okay, 2 opposing factors which have substance depend. Okay, so solid, which properties, characteristic properties solid possess? So see, the solid possess following characteristic properties. First is they have definite mass, volume and shape. Okay, then second one, they have a strong intermolecular forces and thus possess very short intermolecular distance, because intermolecular force is strong, so it's in which distance is short. Then they are incompressible and rigid. And then fourth, the constituent particles, atoms, molecule or ions have fixed position and then can oscillate only about their mean position. Okay, fixed position and then can oscillate only about their mean position. So these are characteristics of the solid. Okay, then next topic is classification of solid. Next topic is classification of solids. So, on the basis of the nature of the order, there are two types of solid classified, two categories. Solids are classified into two categories, crystalline solids and other is non-crystalline solid. And non-crystalline solid are known as amorphous solids. So, on the basis of the nature of the order present in the arrangement of their constituent particles, so there are two types of categories of solid, crystalline and non-crystalline solid. So, first we have to see its diagram. See, this is the crystalline and this is the non-crystalline. See, crystalline is a fixed structure. See, hexagonal, and then here you see non-fixed, no fixed. Here you see this ring and this ring. So this is the non-crystalline, and also we have to say amorphous. So two types of category, crystalline and then amorphous. So crystalline example here given quartz, and then amorphous solid example given quartz glass. Okay, so this example quartz and then quartz glass. So crystalline and amorphous solid. So you already see structure difference. Okay, so let us start. We have to discuss about it. So crystalline solid. Crystalline solid, such solid which acquire definite or regular shape regardless of their size, is called crystalline solid. Okay, example like common salt, NaCl, occurs in a cubic shape, and no matter how big or small the piece of the solid. And major characteristic properties of the crystalline solid. Okay, see, arrangement of the constituent particles. So here you see definite geometrical pattern in all three dimension. Okay, this way 3 dimension, and then it is a usually large number of the small crystals, and each of them having a same regular pattern, right? Okay, so each of them having same regular pattern and which repeat itself periodically over the entire crystal. So this is the called long range order of arrangement, right? So arrangement of the constituent particles in the crystalline solid, here you see definite geometrical pattern and in 3 dimensional, and then even each of them same regular pattern and which repeats itself periodically over the entire crystal. So this is the called long range order of arrangement. Clear? Then in amorphous solid, here you see particles of the irregular shape. Okay, and then short range order. Okay, arrangement of the constituent particles in such a solid has only short range order. This means regular but periodically repeating pattern, but arrangement of the constituent particles is observed over the short distance only, and such portions here are scattered, and in between the arrangement disorder lies. See. Okay, so the structure of the amorphous solid is similar to that in liquid state. Okay, so lack of the long range order of particles in amorphous. This is the example of the amorphous solid quartz glass, and then example of the crystalline solid quartz. So long range order arrangement of particles in crystalline quartz, and then lack means less long range order of particles in amorphous quartz glass. Okay, then effect of temperature on crystalline solid. So whenever temperature raised, so crystalline solid start to melt at a certain temperature. So they have sharp and then characteristic melting point, and then definite enthalpy of fusion, and then heat required to melt per unit mass of a crystal is always same for that crystal. So due to these characteristics, crystals are called true solid. Clear? So whenever temperature increase, so it is a certain temperature, it is melt, and then they have sharp and characteristic melting point, and it also have definite enthalpy and fusion, and then heat required to melt per unit mass of a crystal is always same for that crystal. Okay, so due to these characteristics, crystals are called true solids. Then nature. Crystalline solids are, first we have to see effect of temperature in amorphous solid. Amorphous solids soften over range of temperature and then can be molded and then blown into the various shape. And whenever heating, so they become crystalline at some temperature. That's why a few glass objects from ancient civilization are found to become milky in appearance, as they become crystalline due to the regular heating or cooling during day and night over a long period of time. So amorphous convert into the crystalline. So like liquid, amorphous solid have a tendency to flow, but very slowly. So therefore sometimes they are called pseudo solid or super cooled liquid. It is a main basic concept. Amorphous solid are known as pseudo solids, otherwise super cooled liquid. Okay, and then the tendency to flow in amorphous solid is illustrated by the fact that the glass panes fixed to the windows or doors of the old buildings are found slightly thicker at the bottom than at the top. So this is because the glass flows down very slowly and then makes the bottom portion slightly thicker. So this is the main difference, effect of temperature on crystalline solid and then amorphous solid. So amorphous solids soften over a range of temperature and then can be molded and blown into the various shape. And whenever heating, so they convert into become crystalline at some temperature. So like that's why few glass objects from ancient civilization are found to become milky in appearance and then become crystalline due to the regular heating day and time, so convert into the crystalline. Then liquid, like liquid, amorphous solids have a tendency to the flow. So that's reason sometimes they are called pseudo solids or super cold liquid. Okay, then next question depend on this flowing properties. The tendency to flow in amorphous solid by the fact that the glass panes fixed to the windows or doors of the old buildings are found slightly thicker at the bottom than at the top. So this is because of the glass flows down very slowly and makes the bottom portion slightly thicker. Then third nature. First is crystalline solid, we have to discuss about arrangement. Second, discuss about effect of temperature, which is differentiate in crystalline and amorphous. Then third is nature. Crystalline solid are anisotropic. Okay, that is some of their physical properties like electric resistance, refractive index show different values when measured along different direction in the same crystal. And then arrangement of particles is different along different direction. So the value of the same physical properties is found to be different along each direction. Here you see. Crystalline solid is fixed, definite. Constituent particles are arranged in definite geometrical pattern. See, this is way. So definite geometrical pattern, and whenever, okay, so whenever we have to measure like electrical resistance, diffractive index, okay, so whenever measured along different directions, see, here we have to measure and here we have to measure. So here you see, whenever we have to go A to B, so this side you see this and this side arrangement, see, and then you have to go C to D, so then arrangement you see. So different the arrangement of particles is different along different direction. So that's reason value of the some physical properties like electrical resistance, refractive index, okay, show different values. Okay, so is found to be different along each direction. But in amorphous solid, here you see, this is the crystalline solid. Nature in crystalline solid. So which nature? Anisotropy, because when we have to go, the arrangement of the particles is different along different direction. Okay, but in the amorphous solid, this is the flowing property, okay, and not a definite geometrical pattern. So in amorphous solid, not a, whenever we have to go in different directions, so same arrangement of the particles along different direction. So that is means in crystalline solid anisotropy nature, and in amorphous solid isotropy nature, because in arrangement of the particles is similar along different direction. Clear? Okay, so amorphous solids are isotropic in nature and they show identical electrical and optical properties in all directions. Reason: no long range order of arrangement in them, and then short range arrangement is irregular along all the directions. So the value of any physical properties would be same along any direction. Okay, so in short way, again we have to see difference between crystalline and amorphous. So first we have to see shape. So in crystalline solid, they have definite characteristic geometrical shape, and then in amorphous solid they have irregular shape. Melting point. Melting point in crystalline solid melt at a sharp and characteristic temperature, but in amorphous solid they melt over a range of temperature. Cleavage property. So you are already known about as a crystalline solid as a solid way. So on cutting with sharp knife, and they split into two pieces, and the newly generated surface are plain and smooth because definite geometrical pattern. So whenever we have to cut by knife, so split into two pieces, and then newly generated surface are plain and smooth. Then in amorphous solid, on cutting with sharp knife, they don't necessarily give regular surface with sharp edges. So first is shape, then melting point, third cleavage properties, then heat of fusion. Okay, so crystalline solid, they have definite and characteristic heat of fusion, but amorphous do not have definite heat of fusion. Then nature. Crystalline are anisotropic in nature, so it is called true solid. But amorphous solid, they are isotropic in nature, so they are called pseudo solid or super cold liquid. Okay. Then order in arrangement of constituent particles. So crystalline solid long range order, and then amorphous solid have short range order. Uses: crystalline solid calcite crystal is used in making optical instruments such as prism. Okay, calcite crystal, example of crystalline solid, calcite is used in making optical instruments such as prism. Then amorphous example is given, amorphous silicon is used as photovoltaic material for the conversion of the sunlight into electricity. Okay, so amorphous silicon is used as photovoltaic material for the conversion of the sunlight into electricity. Example of crystalline solid: copper, silver, iron, sulfur, NaCl, quartz, gemstones, etc. Okay, and then amorphous solid example: glass, rubber, plastic, polymers, wax, etc. So this is the main differences. First is shape. Crystalline solid have definite characteristic geometrical shape, amorphous irregular. Then melting point: crystalline melt at sharp point, and then amorphous over a range of temperature. Then cleavage properties: crystalline solid whenever cut by knife, so it is split into the two pieces, and then newly generated surface are plain and smooth. but amorphous solid cutting by knife, so they don't necessarily give regular surface and with sharp edges. Then heat of fusion. Crystalline solid have a definite characteristic heat of fusion, but amorphous do not have. Nature. Crystalline nature anisotropic, that is means whenever we have to go in different directions, so different direction, different physical properties, but in amorphous identical way. Okay, so that is reason anisotropic, so it is called true solid, and then amorphous are not isotropic in nature, so it is called pseudo solid, otherwise supercooled liquid. Then order in arrangement of the constituent particles. So crystalline solid have long range order, and then amorphous have short range order. Uses calcite crystal is used in making optical instrument such as prism, and then amorphous silicon is used as photovoltaic material for a conversion of the sunlight into electricity. Example of crystalline solid: copper, silver, iron, sulfur, NaCl, quartz, gemstone, but crystalline amorphous, glass, rubber, plastic, polymer, wax, etc. Next topic is crystalline of classification of the crystalline solid. Okay, next topic is classification of crystalline solid. So classification of crystalline solid depend on its intermolecular force. Okay, so classification of the crystalline solid depend on the basis of the intermolecular forces operating between them. So first is molecular solid, second one ionic solid, third is metallic solids, and then fourth is covalent or network solids. So first I start molecular solid. In molecular solid, constituent particles are molecules and then again classified in three categories: non-polar, polar, and then hydrogen bonded solid. Okay, so molecular solid are divided into three categories: non-polar, polar, and hydrogen bonded. First we have to discuss about non-polar molecular solid. So simple concept is non-polar. Constituent particles in these solids are either atoms, noble gases. Okay, and then molecules formed by non-polar covalent bonds, hydrogen, chlorine, iodine. So these solids are known as non-polar molecular solids. Okay, so constituent particles, those solid in which noble gases atom, organ, helium. Otherwise, molecules formed by non-polar covalent bonds like hydrogen, chlorine, and iodine. So these solids, atoms or molecules held together by weak dispersion force, otherwise say London force. And London force, what is the London force? A type of van der Waals forces. So therefore, these are solids are soft, non-conductor of electricity due to the absence of ions, and then low melting point and exit in gaseous or liquid state at room temperature and pressure. Clear? So this is the non-polar molecular solid. So whenever those solid in which noble gases atom, otherwise molecules formed by non-polar covalent bonds like H2, Cl2 and iodine, and then attached by weak dispersion forces, atom held together by van der Waals forces, that is means weak bonds. So these solids are soft, non-conductors of electricity. Okay, so reason absence of ion. So low melting point and exit in gaseous or liquid state at room temperature and pressure. Clear? Second molecular solid is polar. So those molecules having polar covalent bonds like hydrogen chloride and sulfur dioxide. Okay, and then molecules are held together by relatively strong dipole-dipole interaction. Which bond? Dipole-dipole. Non-polar, in non-polar weak bond, van der Waals forces, but polar molecular solid dipole-dipole interaction stronger. And these solids are soft, non-conductors of electricity, have comparatively higher melting point than that of non-polar molecules. Okay, and then at room temperature and pressure they exit in gaseous or liquid state. Example: solid SO2 and then solid NH3. Then third one is hydrogen bonded molecular solid. hydrogen bonded, that is means those solid in which polar covalent bond between hydrogen and then highly electronegative like FON, fluorine, oxygen and nitrogen. Okay, so molecules containing polar covalent bonds between hydrogen and highly electronegative atoms, fluorine, oxygen and nitrogen, and then stronger hydrogen bonds binds molecule of such solids, example water, ice, and these solids are volatile liquids or soft solid at room temperature and pressure. Clear? And then they are also non-conductors of electricity. Clear? So, molecular solid divided into three categories: non-polar, polar and polar and then hydrogen bonded. So, in non-polar, particles attach, molecules attached by, atoms attached by weak van der Waals force. In polar, attached by, molecules are held together by stronger dipole-dipole interaction. And in hydrogen bonded molecular solid, in which molecules attach containing polar covalent bonds between hydrogen and then highly electronegative atoms. Then second one, ionic solid. Ionic solid, that is means constituent particles are positive, called cation, and then negative, called anion. That is means cation and anion, positive and then negative. Ions are arranged in 3D space. Okay, in 3-dimensional space. So these ions are held together by strong Coulombic electrostatic force, because due to the cation and anion, electrostatic force are produced. Okay, and then this force is known as Coulombic force. Okay, so these ions are held together by strong Coulombic forces. Properties of ionic solids: these solids are hard, brittle, and then high melting and boiling points. And in solid state, ionic solids are electrical insulator, that is means don't represent conductivity, So in solid state, ionic solids are electrical insulator because ions are not free to move, but in molten state or in aqueous solution they conduct electricity because ion becomes free to move. Okay, otherwise ionic solids constituent particles are positive and negative, held together by strong Coulombic forces, and hard, brittle and high melting point and boiling point. But whenever in molten state, so ions are free, then after conduct electricity. Otherwise ionic solids are electrical insulator. Okay, main concept is ionic solids are electrical insulator because ions are not free to move, but in molten state or in aqueous solution they conduct electricity, so because ions become free to move. Then third, metallic solids. These solids constituent particles are positively charged metal ions, okay, are kernels and free electron. That is means, see, molecular solids divided into three categories: non-polar, polar and then hydrogen bonded. So depend on bonding. Okay, but in ionic solids, cation and anion are attached by strong Coulombic forces, only for positive ion and negative. But metallic solids, positively charged metal ions with free electrons. Okay, so that is known as metallic solid, and positively charged metal ions are called kernels. What is say? We have to say kernels and free electrons, and these electrons can easily flow throughout the metal crystal like water in the sea. So we call it it is sea of free electron. Clear? And each metal atoms contributes one or more electrons towards this sea of mobile electrons, because electrons are free and easily move, so it is known as mobile electron. And positively charged metal ion called kernels. Okay, so these free and mobile electrons are responsible for high electrical and thermal conductivity of metal, and whenever apply electrical field, so electron flow through the network of positive ions, and then applying the heat to one portion of metal, so thermal energy also is uniformly spread throughout by the free electron. So main reason is free electron present in the positively charged metal ions. Okay, positively ion charged metal and cold kernels, and then free electron move, so it is known as mobile electron, and it is easily flow throughout the metal crystal like water in the sea, so we call it a sea of free electron. And due to the free electron, and whenever applying on electric field, so electron flow through the network of positive ions, and then applying to heat to one portion of metal, so the thermal energy is uniformly spread throughout by free electron. So that's reason mobile electron, free and mobile electron are responsible for high electrical and thermal conductivity of metals. Then metals are highly malleable and ductile. So because of unlike ionic crystals, the positive without destroying the crystal. So metal possesses high melting point due to the strong metallic bond. Okay. So metals are highly malleable and ductile. Reason, because of unlike ionic crystal, the portion of the positive ions without destroying the catalyst, metals possess high melting point due to the strong metallic bonds. The force that holds the metal ion together in the crystal is called metallic bond. So those bond which is present in the metal, so hold the metal ions together in the crystal, it is called metallic bonds. Okay, so first is molecular solid, second is ionic solid, third is metallic solid, and then fourth is we have to start covalent or network solid. Okay, covalent or network solid, that is means a wide variety of crystalline solid of non-metal result from the formation of the covalent bonds between the adjacent. A wide variety of the crystalline solid of non-metal result from the formation of the covalent bonds between adjacent atoms throughout the crystals, so are called covalent or network solid, and these are called giant molecules. So crystalline solid of non-metals, so formation of the covalent bonds between the adjacent atoms, so continuous atoms are arranged and then joined together, so that is means varieties of the crystalline solid. Okay, so result from the formation of the covalent bond between the adjacent atoms, so throughout the crystal, so are called covalent or network solids. So these are also called giant molecules. Okay, covalent bonds in network like structure are stronger and directional in nature, therefore atoms are held very strongly at their position. Clear? So network like structure, so that is means it's strongly bonded and directional. Okay, so these solids are very hard, brittle, and then extremely high melting points and may even decompose before melting. And also insulator, do not conduct electricity because it have no free electron. Okay, so diamond and silicon carbide, it's example. Okay, here you see structure diamond, fixed geometrical shape, and non-metals. Okay, so covalent bonds in networks like structure, and then is strong and directional in nature. See here bond length fixed. Okay, 6 hexagonal way, so therefore atoms are held very strongly at their position. So these are solid, like this is example of diamond network structure, and this example of graphite. See, okay, so graphite is also a special case of covalent solid. Here you see graphite. So graphite is also a covalent solid, but it is a soft solid, and diamond is also covalent and network solid, but it is a hard. Clear? So graphite is a soft solid and good conductor of electricity. Otherwise covalent and network solid, they are insulator and do not conduct electricity. Okay, like example diamond and silicon carbide. But graphite, it is a covalent network solid. Okay, but it is a soft and it is a good conductor of electricity. Reason, carbon atoms are arranged in different layers and each atom is covalently bonded, okay, to other 3 of its other neighboring atoms in same layer. So fourth valence electron of each carbon atom is between different layer is free. This electron here, you see this electron 1 2 3, okay, 4. Okay, so fourth electron is free valence electron and free electron make different layers. Okay, free electron responsible for conductivity and these free electrons make graphite a good conductor of electricity. Okay, and in graphite different layers, see, one layer, second layer, so different layer can slide over one another. Okay, so that is reason graphite is soft and act as a good solid lubricant. Clear? So in short way, we have to see different types of crystalline solid. So we have to first discuss molecular solid. There are 3 types of category. First is polar, second one non-polar, and third is hydrogen bonded. So constituent particles in polar molecules, and non-polar molecule atoms of noble gases or non-polar. Hydrogen bonded constituent particles molecules containing hydrogen atom linked to fluorine, oxygen or nitrogen. Binding force in polar molecular solid, dipole interaction. In non-polar molecular solid, dispersion or London forces. In hydrogen bonded hydrogen bonding. And then physical nature of polar molecular solid, soft, then non-polar also soft, but hydrogen bonded attraction force is hydrogen bonding, it is a strong. So physical nature of hydrogen bonded molecular solid is hard. Then melting point and boiling point, low, very low and then low, so depend only its forces. Then electrical conductivity, molecular solid are insulated because they have no free electron. Then second one, ionic solid, constituent particles positive and negative ions. Then binding, Coulombic and electrostatic forces of attraction, and physical nature hard but brittle. Then melting point and boiling point are also high. And then electrical conductivity, insulator in solid state but conductors in molten state or in aqueous solution. Example, KCl, NaCl, calcium fluoride, cesium chloride, zinc sulfide and magnesium oxide. Then third one is metallic solids. So constituent particles is positive ions in a seam of mobile electrons. Then binding force is metallic bonding. Then physical nature hard but malleable and ductile. And then melting and boiling point fairly high. And conductors in solid state as well as molten states. Example, Fe, Cu, Mg, Co, aluminium, aurum and silver. Then last is covalent or network solids. Constituent particles is atoms. Bonding is covalent. Then very hard but except graphite. And then its melting point and boiling point because hard, so very high. And then conductivity, insulators and except graphite because in graphite whenever molten state, so it's good conductor. Then example, silica, SiO2, quartz also we have to say. SiC, silicon carbide. C, carbon diamond. Aln, aluminum nitride. and then carbon also graphite. Okay, clear? So there are 4 types of solid: molecular solid, ionic solid, metallic solid, and covalent or network solid. Clear?